All right, so invites have been sent out. Kindly unmute your mic if you want to speak. So I was talking about the Ethereum merger earlier on, which I didn't focus on because that is not actually the the reason we are here. So I invite Mr. Ogbonarex to give us introduction into the OgasaSwap ecosystem for the understanding of the listeners here.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Um, Good evening, listeners, and even those that will be listening to this um, much later on any of our um, socials. Uh, my name is Obuna Rex Monday. I'm a co-founder of OgasaSwap. Okay, this very evening, um, I'll be giving a brief. I know there will be a lot of questions, but a brief of what OgasaSwap really is. OgasaSwap is a cross-chain decentralized exchange. So, for the purpose of understanding, mm, many might ask what a cross-chain is and how is it different from some other platforms out there. So usually I put it in a more simpler way for easy understanding. I understand very well that many are acquainted with PancakeSwap, which is the BEP20 and the BNB, um, um, or rather the BNB coin and the BEP20, um, the BEP20 tokens. That's built on the smart chain. So everything on the PancakeSwap is more of the BEP20 and the BNB. And when we talk about um, another decentralized exchange, we are equally familiar with the Uniswap, which is built on the Ethereum blockchain, which is the ERC20 token and the Ethereum. So usually, if you have an Ethereum token or any token that is built on the ERC20, and you want to have it exchange, you can do that on that very decentralized exchange with the BEP20. If you build your coin on the smart chain, Binance Smart Chain, you can always run up an exchange if you have that very listed on that very platform. So another one is the quick swap, which is built on the Matic um, blockchain. Uh, so if you these three mentions are more of one chain, right? But what we are looking at putting together, it's more of a cross chain, and the possibility of interoperability, the possibility of having a token on like this is just kind of bringing all this platform under one umbrella, and not just three we are talking about. We will be having a lot of blockchains. In fact, there are over 50 something blockchains which we will be putting together with time. So that is exactly what the core, do I call it, business of the Augustus swap. However, this would just not be uh, a swap alone. It wouldn't just be a cross-chain decentralized exchange. It will have other social futures. It will have other futures where we'll be seeing things like the um staking NFTs. The NFT we are looking at bringing on board will be both. You can mint your NFTs, you can buy, you can sell, you can cross it to another blockchain. We will be seeing the launch pad, we will be seeing the predict and win, we will be seeing the non-loss lottery, um, and other DeFi's. So um, that's in a nutshell what Ogasa Swap really is. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. Quite notably, when DeFi protocols are launched, they are usually launched with their tokens. So in this case, OgasaSwap has launched the Ogasa token. Can you um give us a brief insight into this about the Ogasa token?
Okay, so the Ogasa Swap has its own native token already that is on. We built our token on the Binance Smart Chain. So the token name is Ogasa, and apparently the symbol or the ticker is still the same, Ogasa. We are already on the Pancake Swap already. We can go um, buy our token. That's where we are listed. That we are just listed at on the Pancake Swap for now. We will be having other listings on other platforms. So we are we are already listed. So the Augusta token, like every other um DeFi, like we know, um, that has its own native token. So ours will be more unique in terms of what is the purpose, because usually um we might want to ask what is the use case. It is the use case of Augusta token is on two strengths, which one of it's a governance token. So by governance token, Augusta will be driven by the DAO. The DAO is the decentralized autonomous organization, and decisions that are made on Augusta platforms in the closest future be driven by the DAO. The day-to-day activities, the change of price, and and so on. So will be by the DAO. So we really want it to be a DAO-driven system. Um, and I know that um, for now we will be relating to a lot of team members, the founder, the CEOs, and so that's kind of not the idea. However, the reason why we had put out our faces to this very project is because to have to bring a whole lot of confidence to users at this very preliminary stage that we are, because we know a lot of DeFi's have been put up, and many of them have swindled a lot of persons, and especially for the fact that they don't have their face tied to such projects. The reason why we have our face seized on this very project is just so have people to know that yes, we are real people. We do not have such kind of illicit intention to rob anyone. And part of the things we will be doing is to equally have our token um, go through a KYC process pretty soon. And the reason for that KYC is, should there be any rug pull, you know, you can always write to the Binance Smart Chain, and they would release data of the CEOs, founders, and so who and you can easily press charges. I think on that very regard is to show that we have a lot of intention of very space for a long time, right? So that's not just what we'll be doing. We'll be having a lot of way to increase buyers' confidence of our token. And like I said, one of the use case is the governance token, while the other, which is the second, is the utility. Utility in terms of Augusta token will be apparently used in the protocol for every of the futures that we'll be having, like assessing any of the futures. And I give an instance. Currently, we are really working on having the predict and win go live. That's the prediction market. So, uh, unlike some of our competitors like the pancake swap, we that takes about 3% of the earning. We are doing just 1%, though we're taking 1.5 in the actual file is 1%, but I will be explaining why that it's 1.5. But 0.5% will be given in our token. So for everyone who participates in the prediction and wins, 0.5% of that very winning will be given in our token, and the 1% is the treasury fee, right? So as a way of utility and equally in, we are already creating a lot of demands on that regards for the Augusta token. So you could imagine the prediction market that runs 24/7, and people continuously participating. You might need to take a statistics of that using the pancake swap, and so to demands for that very demands for the Augusta token per every person who plays will be on a steady increase. And this is just one use case that we're talking about here, right? Um, or one of the futures that will be utilizing the token continuously. Not to mention when we begin to roll out other use cases. So utility and governance. Governance in terms of um, the DAO. Of course, we know that whoever holds our token are major decision makers in the protocol. I'm sure we are quite acquainted with that. So that's pretty much it on our token.
Thank you very much for the answer on that. You mentioned some key features of OgasaSwap, which sounds very interesting, especially the DAO, which is a feature being explored at the moment by quite a number of blockchains out there. Um, Thank you for that. Now, my next question is security. Recently, there was the hack on Solana blockchain. There's also been an hack on the Ethereum blockchain as well. Well, not so recent, but that happened as well. So, which leads to the question is that how secure is the contract on Ogasa? People want to know that how do they know that when they invest in this, someone cannot just access the code, or the developer cannot just access the code and drain the liquidity. So how do we know that?
Okay, so I will try to answer that question in the best of my ability. I'm not a technical person. I would have loved a more professional answer on that. But then Talking about the security, we all know that the crypto community has faces these challenges every day, and some of the it's really a great worry. Every day we just keep hearing a lot of um, hacks. Not too long with the Nomad that um, lost closely 200 million um, in the US dollars. And recently we are talking about the hack from the Solana that came through one of their wallet, which is the Slope. So we are actually taking in OgasaSwap priority the security as everything that has to do with the security is a priority, and part of what we will be putting or bringing on board is what they call the bug bounty to ensure that yes, uh, um, the system is well secure, where we reward people who could um, look into codes and um, likely bring out areas at which the protocol will be faced with such kind of hacks. And so um, really that will be a priority in Ogasa, what we call security, scalability as well. You know, just security and scalability would be something that we will constantly look into, especially security, because I understand so well how the desires for people would die the moment your system is faced with that very threat. They begin to look, is it something that happened in world, or how did this happen? And so it's not kind of a pleasant one. So um, a lot of the budget, a lot of the revenues that is actually made will be so channeled into the security aspect of our protocol. So our code will be quite secure. It will apparently be code will be audited by of the reputed auditing um, uh, um, DeFi systems as well. So it's a priority to us.
All right, thank you for that. You made mention of the bug bounty, which should be a a good way to make people in the community active. This should incentivize people who are looking forward to securing the community. These are community members who have the best of the community and in terms of security. All right, so on to my next question. Every token out there has something called the token. So people want to know the structure, how each of the token supply is being allocated to different aspects or sector of this project. So can you please speak about this for a moment?
Okay, um, about our tokenomics, right? So um, we Augusta created about in total of 100 million tokens. So the our 100 million tokens, and we have look, if you go to the Augusta official site, you will see the breakdown of our tokenomics, where we allotted different amount for different I mean, in the tokenomics is broken down into for the team is taking the 9%, the development 6%, for marketing is 7%. um, you know, for investors, by these investors will we actually making reference to those who would want to partner with Ogasa Swap, or of which we are still very much open for to investors now. That's 8%. Partnership, the partners 4%. The partners are apparently um, those. We had this very during uh, uh, during the the, the the private sales, where if you introduce anyone, certain allocation is given to you. So advisors, we only have 1% of our total for the advisors, and we will be having some specialists like legal practitioners, blockchain experts, and so maybe reputed account, um, you know, those that are in the accounting, just professionals. We allocate 1% of our token, and 35% of the it's going um, to the community. Then we have staking, which is quite a priority. I like to talk about as staking always, because I know that there are a lot of projects out there that was doing a kind of quick fix after sometimes, but just to make us to understand that for the token, for the stakings, we have 20% of that very allocation given set aside for the token for staking. Then we have things like the liquidity mining. The liquidity mining is apparently for those who provide liquidity on our platform, those who provide liquidity on the Ogasa swap platform will be getting incentivized with 5% of the entire tokenomics is kept for that. Then we are locking 5% of the entire supply for the next 5 years. So there is something about our tokenomics, or rather about our token. First, I'd like to mention to us that those who participated in the private sales, right, all through the private sales, those who participated, or even up to the point of the airdrop, um, the tokens are vested. All of us, so far, we've given the first release to everyone who participated, even up to the point of the airdrop. But that of the airdrop is 3.5 years. 3.5 years. While that of the investors, mm, good for the first, second private sales is for 5 years. So their first releases has actually been given to them. The other ones will be going for the next 20 weeks. This is equally the team is equally part of this. Like mentioned, the team is equally part of the vesting, so that a lot of persons might equally understand that everything that has to do with the token, every bit of it is accounted for, and we for anyone who is part of the community, you can at any point in time request to understand how the distribution, every bit of the token is. In fact, just ask us any question that has to do with the distribution, and um, um, as equally the vesting schedules. So for even the investors that we will be having in the future, which apparently some tokens will be allocated to them, they will equally be going through the vesting schedules, and we are quite obliged to be open to us in terms of that very regard. Now, I equally need to mention again that the Augusta token is a deflationary one. We are looking at having just a quarter of that token in the nearest future. Right? So, like, we are going to be burning down up to the point of having just 25,000 pieces of our token. This will be happening. Um, well, we will be that will be DAO driven as well. I mean, the community will equally be so much um, having a say in that, in terms of the burning schedule of the token. But we will be burning up to the point of having just 25,000 pieces of the token. So um, for now, we have no, there is still, we don't, we've not still, there is still no plans for the immediate to burn um, any of the tokens right now. Um, we but definitely, should any opportunity come, we will definitely communicate it to the community, and we will be, of our burning will be more of the buyback. It's not even at this very stage, just like the Binance does, and that helps their token also so much. um they do more buyback from time to time. They buy back their token, uh, and burn it off, which reduces the total supply. Also, so, like, I know there is a misconception that each time a token is burned, it has a way of checking up the price. In entirety, that cannot be said to be true, but the idea behind that is that when there is a particular demand and it is meeting a little supply, of course prices goes high. So when we burn a lot of our token, like kind of doing a buyback, and the supply out there, the demand is still maybe a particular, maybe let's say 70 to 80% demand, constant demand, and it is still uh, at about this time where it was 70% demand, the supply is still maybe almost 70, and now supply is being reduced, right? When the supply is meeting that demand, the price goes up. So at the point of buying.
So sorry about that, guys. Technically clicked on mute everyone, but please, you can go ahead to speak now. So sorry about that, guys.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. So you might have said some things when it was mistakenly muted. So please go back a little bit. Um
Okay, okay. Can you maybe just tell me where you where I got muted so that I could
oh yeah, so you
reiterate?
were talking about using buybacks and the demand and supply aspects, using the bond pool.
Okay, okay, it's fine. I'm glad you got me up to that very point. So, like I said we'll be doing more of the Binance style, where we buy back our tokens, and you know um that will be more valuable to the community. Um, you know, uh, in terms of having our token become valuable. So buyback will be what we'll would really focus on. But the idea is to bring the token down to a quarter of its um, current maximum, or the total supply.
All right. Thank you for that, and apologies for earlier on. Yeah. So services like uh, loans. Hello. Can anyone hear me?
Yes, I think maybe you had a connection issues for some few seconds.
Yes, I did. Yeah. So before that, I was talking about services like lending, borrowing, staking, flash loans, or even the basic loan, which is offered on some other decentralized exchanges for users to earn some kind of returns based on the APY. So I want to ask if this will also be on the OgasaSwap decks, and how accessible is it to just anyone to use? Also, how cheap will the fees be? Because that is one of the main aspects people look forward to in the blockchain space, the speed and also less fees as well.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mohammed. I like to maybe use this very moment to talk about the entire features that we will be seeing, and in entirety, like the roadmap. And um, let me start by talking about the fee here. If you had listened to my earlier introduction, I mentioned that starting with the prediction market, and unlike our competitors, our fees will be 1%, right? 1% of the earnings anyone participates in the prediction market. And I can assure you that we are the cheapest in this regards. I know of some other protocols that does 5%. And so, but we are so committed here to ensure that this, especially for the fact that we are this very um, DeFi future is the first in Africa, and we are so committed to ensure that um, we have a lot of people looking into this. But that's not just it. In terms of being cheap, um, we all, all that we'll be bringing on board will try as much as possible to make it extremely cheap. So that brings us to some of the futures, because I mentioned that in a hurry during the introduction. What are the futures that we will be seeing on the um, OgasaSwap DEX, right? Um, or rather, the OgasaSwap. Um, what are those futures? Like I have mentioned, the core future of the OgasaSwap is apparently the cross chain, and upon launch, we will be seeing about 10 different of those blockchain, and before long, we will be seeing over 50 blockchains, 50 blockchains on the OgasaSwap. Now, I like to equally inform us that unlike every other platforms where their AMM is automated market maker. Yes, I'm sure if I talked about automated market maker, we the opposite of it is the is it the book um the is it book uh,
Yeah,
I've
the
forgotten
order
that.
book on centralized
Thank
exchanges.
you. Oh, thank you so much. Order book, order book was what I was looking out for. Yeah, so the order book, unlike um the AMM, that is more of the two-sided liquidity. So let me make it a bit practical here. If you go to the pancake swap that you want to provide liquidity for any token, you are expected to um expected to provide liquidity in two ways. First, you are providing that liquidity in that very token or the pair. So if it is $1,000 you want to do for one of them, you are obligated to do the same thousand for the other. If it is $500, you are expected to do 500 for the other. So, but our own style is the one-sided liquidity, not the two-sided liquidity. So the one-sided liquidity, by so doing, we are actually saying that we are taking off the burden of worrying and our liquidity, our LPs, the liquidity providers, worrying about the other tokens that they want to, that they should be in, providing liquidity with. So if a user comes to a platform and is looking at providing liquidity of Ethereum or Binance Smart Chain of $1,000, so that just that 1,000 is what they will do. So we on in OgasaSwap, the system automatically co-invests with you. That means it will be bringing the equivalent of that very token. So we are doing two things here. Here, co-investing with you and equally protecting you from impermanent loss. So if you look really into the reason why people get scared of providing liquidities in decentralized exchange, the biggest fear of every liquidity provider is the impermanent loss. The fact that one of the assets will be faced with that very loss at some point. It's not one that is too pleasant for them, right? Because of the loss. Sometimes many people that prefer that they provide they have their token either and they have hardware wallet or their any of the non-custodial wallet or whatever wallet they have, rather than providing liquidity because of the impermanent loss that is they are faced with. So we will not be having our users in OgasaSwap experiencing the impermanent loss because they are insured. We are going to that this form of one-sided liquidity, they will be insured from that very process of um, um, they will be insured from any form of impermanent loss. So that's one that we should really know, that our style of the AMM will be the one-sided liquidity, protecting our users from impermanent loss and equally co-investing with them. So I have mentioned that we will be having the launch pad. One of the apparently the launch pad is anyone who has a DeFi um, uh, idea you want to bring out. Of course, everybody needs some fundraisers at some points, and using the Augustus launch pad, you will be having access to community of people who have seen into your looked into your project and are willing to invest. You have a community already that will be investing in that very idea. But then we'll be having the borrowing and lending apparently, and you asked if this borrowing and lending will be cheaper. Yes, we will make sure that ours is so cheap that you know we it will attract a lot of people to lottery have will want other futures on the platform again. No, so we will be apparently having the NFTs. Like I know a lot of people talk about the NFTs. So I guess as a question, the NFT will be both you can your mint your NFT, but cross it to another blockchain. Then we'll be having also in the nearest future we'll be having the metaverse and um, we'll be having the metaverse and metaverse and files will be part of this, which we need our communities to know. The biggest share is to own its own blockchain, and um, we begin to make revenues partnering with investors and bringing a lot of persons on board. We will be planning on our blockchain. Now, what are we looking at solving? Is it just the kind of euphoria of getting being owning the blockchain? There is a problem that our blockchain is looking at solving, and that is the solving the electoral malpractices in Africa and maybe some other third world countries, that are always faced with this uh, uh, democratic issues once it comes to election, or yeah, that has to do with the electoral process. So it's going to be an electoral blockchain. Yes, so not just an electoral blockchain. There are others that will be. It will be evolving some other to be solving some other problems like the smart contract and interoperability, um, and but then we are putting that as you know in the front burner, having that particular um, problem, the key thing we are looking at solving. So um, in Nigeria here, we are going to be having our elections next year. In East Africa, I think, is it this weekend, or if I'm not mistaken, or next, if I am not mistaken, they are that they will be having their own election. So in Africa generally, right, we there is just this feud. Let me use that crypto word. There's this fear, uncertainty, and doubt each time there is election draws close. If you go to the Twitter, it's so awash with a lot of electoral things, especially it has to do with the trends in Nigeria here. So I'm not going to go into politics here, but the point I'm trying to make here is the fear, the uncertainty, the doubt, as it has to do with the credibility of the election, is a thing of worry. So a lot of people travel, a lot of people are so afraid of the outcomes of this very. Is a lot of killings and so many barbaric things that are not pleasant to the ears. So uh, with the help of the electoral blockchain, what are we looking out for? Once my registration is done, right? I really don't need to be in Nigerian. If I have a business meeting outside Nigerian, before I could participate in an electoral process. But that's kind of the order of the day right now. In fact, I'm confined to a particular state on the day of election. I can't go to another state because they'll tell you because of security matters and so. But with the help of the blockchain, where we understand that the blockchain can really help in solving that has been solving a lot of problems. We can't rule that away from our electoral process. We're looking at adopting that same pattern into into our political system. So not being confined, by restricting humans movement, by so doing infringing on people's rights, not uh, you know even it will equally help those in the diasporas to equally participate. I can freely move, and the fact that there be no ballot box movements, like having issues with snatching ballot boxes, is something that we should be looking at in terms of the 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 uh, the blockchain solving that very electoral process. That's what we are looking at putting up in OgasaSwap.
Okay, well, just give us some insight into the key feature of the and also some other features which are not currently on some other platforms, and I think that this is quite a good thing. So thank you for that. I was going to
Sorry,
mention this
can
earlier.
you say that again? I didn't get that.
Yeah, I said you just gave us some insight into the Ogasa ecosystem. You spoke about some of the key features that Ogasa plans to work on, and some of these are. I would say that this is the first African platform to think of any of those innovations that you mentioned. So it's a good thing, and we hope to see that. Now, recently on the Telegram community, uh, there was the mention of the predict and win feature, which you talked about, and I'm sure community members have been anticipating this product. So, can you tell us what's going on with the predict and win feature of OgasaSwap?
Okay. So we know that we have this has lingered, and we must sincerely apologize to members of our community who have been anticipating this to the usage of our predict and win future. Um, the developers have been encountering a lot of errors, according to what I was told. But the last time we spoke with the developers, they said they are they they, they are um almost 90% complete. They've 90% completed it. So any moment from now, we should be seeing that on the test net. The We are looking at equally having the community members equally participate in the tests before we have these very products go live. So we will be having that pretty soon, and the moment that comes up, we want to promise that the delay we have encountered on the prediction will be seen in every other futures, that to really assure everyone that we would not see that the prediction is the only one that will actually take this long in, you know coming out. We're looking at employing more hands to in our development this, and to which we expedite the process as well. um Again, we apologize to every community members that have long been waiting for this. We really don't take your patience for granted. It really gives us worry that um, we have delayed this up to this very point. It was not um, premeditated. We never saw this coming in this very regards. But then we have been working to ensure that this comes into reality and not just um, a mere say. We don't just want to keep raising our hopes, but then um, we are sure that when upon this coming out, it's something that everybody really enjoy. So we apologize again.
Right. Thank you for that. So guys, it has been a series of back-to-back questions. Uh, the founder of OgasaSwap, which have been answered thoroughly, and to that, I would say that any question that we have in mind, which has not been asked, you can ask at this point in time by raising your hand. You can do that by using the emoji icon at the bottom right. So when you do that, I'll bring you up to speak so you can ask your question. Now we've talked about the ways in which the price can be leveled using um the feature, the common feature, which is the predict and win, which is a steady demand for the Ogasa token, and also the plans for the buybacks, which have been discussed earlier. So at this point, if there's any question, you can signify, and I would bring you up to speak. All right. So I think there is no question. Would like to have a closing remark from the founder of Ogasa Swap, just to end this Twitter space.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, moderator, for this wonderful section that is properly moderated. Want to thank every member of our community for their patience. We promise to ensure that uh, whatever we have actually said will bring everything to reality. We are real people. That's one thing we keep reassuring you. We are committed to this very African project, and this will really bring us into the, the limelight. Um, we, um, we promise that we will be we will do everything professionally to ensure that the protocol is meet up to, you know, proper standard, proper standard here. So I thank everyone for participating in this very space meeting. We will be having more of these very meetings. Um, we employ everyone to always invite each time we have this, because it's really have us to understand what we are really building, and we would like to really have everyone to participate actively participate in all our